everyone. Today I would like to welcome Mr. Amit Parmar sir for sharing his valuable knowledge in the field of JavaScript and advanced JavaScript with the help of React Redux framework. Basically, he is a software engineering. He is software engineer working at Vediti Software Private Limited. He has 6+ years of experience in IT industry in the field of web development. Since last 3 years, he is working as a React developer and having experience in designing and developing enterprise application using React, Redux, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. He has also worked on 15 plus software development projects. He has also conducted various workshop and training sessions on this trending web development topics. So I would like to all students, faculty members, HOD ma'am, dean ma'am, to uh, welcome you to listen his valuable knowledge. I will now hand over this session to Mr. Amit Parmar sir. Sir,
Thank you very much, ma'am. Am I audible?
yes sir.
Okay, fine. So let's start with this particular topic. So basically, in the current programming era, in particularly if I'm talking about web development, JavaScript it's become one of the most trending programming language. These days, if you just simply search on a Google for the recent trend in the modern programming languages, you will be able to find in almost every blog or in every trend, you will be able to find that JavaScript is one of the most demanding programming language as per the development field, particularly in terms of web development. So that is why if anybody want to make a career, particularly in web development, right? So they must learn the language like JavaScript. So like I'm not saying that JavaScript is only the option, but yes, that is also true that the various frameworks and libraries which is built on top of JavaScript, that is more in demand these days. So anybody is interested in web development, right? Those who want to make a career in web development, they can select a language like JavaScript, and they can make a career in that. And there are so many various opportunities. So in that on that particular note, I would say that this particular seminar, or you can say this particular talk, will help lots of students to see that there is also career, or there is also opportunity these days into web development with knowledge of JavaScript, right? Because of in most of the university, I found that JavaScript is nothing but just a small, a unit or a chapter, basically. So students doesn't get that much opportunity to interact with this particular language. And as an academic, also in academic also, JavaScript is not that much got important. So that's why this particular training sessions will give the opportunity, because of, see, I'm not going to teach you, or I'm not going to guide students, or I won't be able to teach everything, particularly from this particular language perspective. But yes, you will be able to get some bits of knowledge that where you can use this particular language and where this can be applied in future. So on that note, let's start with this. So first, I'll give you the outline, right? So what I'm going to, or what I'm trying to cover actually. So as a topic, if you see that there are many terminologies used actually. So basically, the JavaScript ES6, right? Modern JavaScript, right? If you have some bit of knowledge in JavaScript, you may have heard of the vanilla JavaScript, and so many terminologies are there. They are used interchangeably, and throughout the session also you will be able to find that we will use certain terms interchangeably, but yes, true, everything is basically about JavaScript, right? So this is what basically a chapter most of the IT students, most of the computer students have learned in their web technology subject. So when you are going to learn, or whenever you have learned this particular subject, web technology, there you have learned one chapter basically, that is JavaScript. So today we are going to emphasize more on that. We will learn certain advanced topics based on that. Of course, that advanced topics are not new, but yes, they are new to the students because the students, those who are learning JavaScript, basically they are learning only the core basic JavaScript, you can say, right? We can say a vanilla JavaScript. That is what the terminology in industry people use, vanilla JavaScript, right? So that is the core and basic JavaScript, right? And on top of that, what is actually ES6, right? And how actually it's emerged, what are the evaluation and all that thing that we are going to discuss. So at the starting, I'm going to do a small introduction to the JavaScript, what is a simple core JavaScript, right? But yes, I expect that most of the people, those who are uh, uh, watching this particular presentation, I'm expecting that they must have some, JavaScript knowledge actually at certain level, so that they will be able to get the command on the advanced topic straight away, and they will be able to get the basic idea how actually it actually going to work, right? So I'm not going to teach you everything in detail, that how actually gonna start with the core JavaScript, right? But let's see how we're gonna do. So in introduction, I'll give you a brief details about that, and some sort of about application where you can, what you can do actually with JavaScript. That is also something, interesting thing, because of there are lots and lots of applications which you can build based on the JavaScript. But yes, here we are going to discuss the overall idea. Basically, using JavaScript, anybody can program and what they can do actually, right? So that we are going to do. And at the later stage, I will redirect you to the ES6. Basically, that is nothing but the modern JavaScript, you can say. So we will see the evolution, and as I said, like how actually it all emerged, and what is the current state of the ES6, or you can say JavaScript, that are used in market these days, right? And features of JavaScript that we are going to discuss, right? This is something which is very interesting because I wanted to showcase certain features, right, that is used as a developers these days, and in my routine or day-to-day life also, I use all of them, right, on regular basis. So basically, this is something which is required if you want to work with respect to as a JavaScript developer, right? You can say in a front end development or a UI UX developer. So basically, certain features of the JavaScript that I'm going to discuss and I'm going to demo to you, that is basically required at this level. At the later stage, I'll discuss some of the companies, those who are using certain libraries and framework, which is again based on ES6, or you can say JavaScript, right? So you will get the brief idea that where actually JavaScript is used these days, right? And which are the different companies are there, those who are using different libraries and framework, which is based on the JavaScript only, right? So to understand this, we should know certain basics, right? But at the end, you will be able to understand that what are the different applications which is based on the JavaScript that we are using in our day-to-day life, right? So that we are going to see in detail. And at the end, certain trends which is there in the current market, or you can say in the recent era, right, in terms of web development. So basically, if anybody is going to be a web developer, they must be aware of this particular latest trend. So in that case, they will be able to ready to get placed or ready to get job in the market. And if they are aware with this recent trends, right, they will be able to capture the demands of the industry, and accordingly they can work. So that is how I have planned the whole presentation. So basically, you will get the basics of the JavaScript, you will understand certain advanced topic of the JavaScript, you will see the application of it, and at the end you will also have some idea that if you want to make a career in the using JavaScript programming language, what are the opportunities, right? And at the end we will say, we will take some QAs, right? So let's see how we will go to this. So first, a small brief introduction to the JavaScript. Basically, if those who are aware with the JavaScript, as they have learned JavaScript in their curriculum, they must be aware that JavaScript is nothing but actually designed as a client-side scripting language, right? So initially, when JavaScript was started, it was considered as a client-side scripting language. Uh, but yes, these days there are certain libraries and there are certain framework which is there, which is work on a server side as well. So if I give you a brief idea, like those who are not aware about client-side scripting, server-side scripting, basically client-side scripting, you know that client-side means that your browser, right? So whenever you are executing or whenever you are compiling a particular program, right, on your browser, that is considered as a client-side scripting language, right? So one of the example is JavaScript, right? You may have also heard of the VB script, which is a Microsoft-based language, but that is not that much popular these days. There is a TypeScript, right? Many more are there actually, but JavaScript is one of the famous and mostly adopted by all major browsers. So that is why it is very much popular. So now client-side scripting language. Similarly, there are server-side scripting languages, right? So those who are learned web development, they are aware that server-side scripting languages means the languages which executed on work on a server side. Some of the popular ones are the PHP, you can say, right? Then in .NET technologies, there is ASP, right? That is also work on a server side. Same way for Java technologies, you may have use of the JSP, servlets and all. They all work on a server side, right? So you need to do the certain programming which is going to execute it and which is going to run on a server only. So that is how this works. So particularly JavaScript was designed actually to work in a browser only. But if you see, there are certain libraries and certain frameworks which is based on JavaScript these days. They are run on a browser. You can say React, Angular, Vue.js, Number.js, Next.js. Many more are there. Many more are there which work on a browser, and there are certain features with respect to browsers are utilized by this particular languages. So it is developed in that way. On a backend side, there is a Node.js, you can say, right, which is a library, you can say, or you can say that a runtime environment, right, which is basically work on a JavaScript programming language. So if you say you know the core JavaScript language, you know in and outs about how actually it works, you can pick any of the library or a framework, right, which is used in in industry, and you can, you know, be a developer in web development. You can say you are a JavaScript developer and you can code in React, you can code in Angular, you can choose any of the one, right? According to your requirement, according to your project demand, and you can make a full-fledged application where there will be a backend, where there will be a database, and there will be a front end as well. So basically, you can use JavaScript in all the sense, and you can make a full-fledged language. But if I say JavaScript was initially introduced as a client-side scripting language, right? So who was invented? Braden. Each has invented first of all JavaScript. Initially, the names were many names were coined. Initially, it was Mocha, then LiveScript, and finally it was named as a JavaScript. Now, basically, it was invented at the Netscape Communication Corporation somewhere in 1995, right? So that was the initial phase when JavaScript was introduced, right? And there were many browsers were there at the moment, like Firefox, that is from Mozilla, then Microsoft, right? Many different browsers were there. They are supporting, you know, JavaScript, and like these days also different type of browsers are there. But most of the features of the JavaScript are supported by the all, you know, major browser. So different brands and different version of browser have the different capabilities to handle the JavaScript in a different way, right? So this is something that very hot discussion or topic, you can say, where handling of JavaScript with different browser. So even though as a web developer also, whenever you are creating your application, right, it is always required that you need to test your application in different browsers, so that how it actually works. So if you are using Apple products, you may have the different site of browsers like Safari and all. If you have the other Microsoft product, you may have the Edge or Internet Explorer, you can say, or else we may have the different other set of browsers are also. But basically, when we are developing a web-based application, particularly in JavaScript, it is always required that you should test your application with respect to different versions, so that certain features of the JavaScript may not be supported in the older versions of the JavaScript, right? So that we people are going to incorporate in this presentation. So you will be able to have the at least some idea, right? I won't say that you will be able to understand very much in detail, but at least you will have some idea that how you can entertain this particular thing when you are going to be a developer in future, right? So this is something interesting as a developer. What actually you can do, right? When you are going to write a JavaScript code, basically this is going to be a straight away question. If you are going to, or if you are learning JavaScript at the first time, so basically there are certain web development languages are there, right? Just like HTML, CSS that we know, and then many other languages which we are aware, like a PHP, and there are .NET technologies, Java technologies. What is the use of JavaScript, right? Why we should learn JavaScript, or why we should use JavaScript? So basically, if we say like HTML and CSS, this is for a presentation. So if you are developing a web page, right, your content will be visible on a web page like HTML page with the help of HTML and CSS. So CSS will do the styling part. So it will make your page beautiful, and HTML will create a structure, right? But if you want to make your page interactive, right? If you want to do some sort of interaction, let's say you want some particular button, by clicking on that button there should be some task should be done or some events should be handled, right? So that kind of interaction is possible, right, with the help of JavaScript. You can make a small program. Let's say if you want to make a calculator, right? If you want to make a page where you can do some sort of small calculation, so that is possible with the help of JavaScript, because HTML and CSS is not a programming language. They are the markup language. So it's only present the data. They will just present the data into a particular structure. But if you want to make that thing interactive, or if you want to present your data which is coming from backend into certain way, then you need a JavaScript basically, right? So to make your page dynamic, interactive, async, right? A term which is coined, which is very new, right? Not, I won't say new, but of course new to the students particularly, right? So those who are not using JavaScript, right, as per the industry standards, then you might not aware about this particular term, which is async. So basically, when you want to make, let's say, a database request, right? So straight away, we won't be able to make a database request from the client side. We need something from server side also, right? But yes, when we are making some database request, we are not aware that when this particular response will come. So this is something which related to asynchronous programming, right? Which is most important part of the JavaScript language. But this is not a right time for for me to discuss with you, because of it will not be something which will be straight away or easy to understand. But let me just give you a small brief that if there are certain things which is not going to be respond, like if user click, or when there is a certain things which user has to perform, or let's say if there is certain backend database related task, or certain network related task, or any such thing where user will not be able to get the straight away response, right? For example, if we do a simple arithmetic operation like a plus b, right, within a moment we will get the answer of a plus b. But let's say if we request something from the database, we don't know when the database will get the response, right? Or let's say if you are making some particular network call, right? In application development, we require something to be fetched from network, from some third party tools, or from some other APIs, right? I'm sure you might be aware of these terminologies: network call, or the API request, or the server side response, right? But most often scenario that you people are aware of the database request, right? So basically, when we want certain data to be displayed, let's say at the end of your semester when your results came, right, you people are checking your result on internet websites, right, on your university websites. Basically what you do, you will simply provide your email, your seat numbers or your enrollment number, and when you submit it, basically your result will display in some tabular format with some subjects and their marks and all that thing. So what happened actually? It goes into the backend, right, and it fetch the data from the database. So when you click on that submit button, and when your data which comes in a form of table, it required some sort of time. So in between, you know, this particular thing required some process time. So this is nothing but the asynchronous programming. So how long it will take, what time it will take to get that response, everything which is comes under this asynchronous programming. So what to do when this particular request is made, how it going to handle. So that is all basically handled by the JavaScript and the different languages like that. So that is you can do using JavaScript. You can make an interactive web page. When you say interactive, what do you mean by the interactive? You can have the drop down, you can have pop-up messages. So everything that you can see on any form, right, HTML form and all, which is possible, you can make it interactive with the help of JavaScript, right? Let's see if we will be able to do some demo on that. I'm happy to demonstrate that. Manipulating web page dynamically. So like if you want to change some particular content, you may have seen certain websites, right, where when there are different cities, countries, state-wise drop downs are there. So if you select a country, right, next drop down for the state will get dynamically changed, and then when you select the particular state from that particular drop down, the city list will rendered accordingly. This is nothing but the dynamic manipulation of data, right? And that is easily possible using JavaScript. So no need to go for a backend connectivity, or no need to make a server side request or nothing like that. You can handle this thing dynamically using a language like JavaScript. And there are many more things are there. So let's say if you click on a button, you want to change the background of your page, right? This is all possible using JavaScript. So you can change the content, you can change the style of element. Element means nothing but an HTML element. You can replace images on a page, and many more things are there, right? So that is possible. You want to hide some elements, right? So anything like that. So basically this is nothing but making a web page dynamic. So this is possible with the help of JavaScript. Generate an HTML content dynamic. As I said, you can do something like this. So you want to make some certain pages. So just given an example like this. So basically, as I said about your result page, when you check your result, right? Basically, there is no HTML page is designed, and that page is simply uh, loaded on internet. When you click a data which is there in the tabular format, which is coming from some other server side backend, right? And when it comes to the front end to your browser, it is not actually the HTML page which is there straight away, right? It is a dynamically created. So actually, if you right click on that particular page and if you see the code of the page, you will be able to see the tabular format where your marks and everything is there. But in general, if I say this page is the content of this page is dynamically created, right? So this is something your page, your you can say HTML will create it dynamically. So this is how it happens. Form validation. So if you enter certain data, you can do the form validation and all that thing. This is possible. Then Ajax something which is connected with the async mechanism. So Ajax is nothing but it stands for the asynchronous JavaScript and XML. So basically, you want to request certain data without refreshing the whole page, right? These days, you may have seen that on most of those websites. So whenever you are filling certain information, right, it will check straight away and it will give the response. So what happened? Let's say if you are creating a new email address on the Google, right? So for Gmail, if you want to create a new email address, and basically when you entered your preferred email address name, right, it checks the straight away and it gives the response that is it available or not. So what happened when you typed and when you stop type, that phrase will send it back to the server, and straight away within fractions of seconds it will respond that this particular phrase or this particular email address name that you have ID that you have selected which is available or not, and relevantly it will respond. So no need to refresh the whole page, but straight away you will be able to see this particular data, right? So this is something you can say that Ajax mechanism. Again, communicating with the server and exchanging data. So JavaScript is able enough to make an API request. API request is nothing but basically you request certain data to the server, and accordingly server will respond and all, right? So this is happen in the JavaScript language. Very simple way to write in JavaScript. So just to demonstrate, actually, right? This is not required because I'm expecting that students must aware at this stage, because we want to discuss the advanced topic, right? But just for a brief, how you can write a script. So in your HTML file, you may have a simple a script tag, basically, right? A script tag like this that you can write anywhere into the HTML page, right? And you can write a JavaScript code. So type which you can set to text less JavaScript, which is actually optional. Without writing that also you can write. And there is a particular object called document. There is a method called write. You can write document.write method, and you can simply write down whatever you want to the HTML page. So here, when you write this, when this particular script will call, and when it get execute, document.write method will write actually on your HTML page, right? So it will erase everything from your page, and it will write whatever you have written in this particular syntax. So here I have written three functions. First one, that horizontal ruler. Then again there is a one string that is hello world web, and then again ruler. So you can see that this is what the output you will be able to see right after your this h1 tag. So this is a simple representation of the JavaScript, how you can actually write that. Again, if you want to write a separate JavaScript file, right? The previous example where you are writing JavaScript inside your HTML file. But let's say if you want to write an HTML file outside your JavaScript HTML file, basically you can write JavaScript file with the extension of .js. You can store it anywhere, and you can call it in the same way, but you need to use this source attribute src, and you can call it like this, right? So this is something important. So I won't spend much time on that, right? Because of this is what all the students at this level, they must be aware if they have used JavaScript here and there at certain stage. So this is what interesting. Now let's move on to something which is new to the students. I'm sure most of the students have not understood the or not tried to understand the modern JavaScript concept, basically ES6, right? So let's talk on that first of all, and then we will move on to some demo things. So ES6, or you may use the full term, that is ECMAScript. ECMA script, ECMAScript, it is a word which is used. This is also a short form, ECMA, right? But you may find it on the internet. That is not an interesting part. But interesting thing is that ECMAScript is basically considered as a standard, right? So when JavaScript was emerged at very early stage, right? So people has made ECMAScript as a standard and JavaScript as a language, right? So many more different languages are there in the market, which is again based on this particular standard, which is called ECMAScript, or you can use the term ES in a short, right? And the number six and all, that is nothing but the different version that was emerged, right, throughout the journey of the JavaScript. So basically, how it actually start working. So that is how it works. So ECMAScript, which is nothing a standard, you can say that it is a superset, right? From where JavaScript is basically developed, and many more terminologies. So that is how it actually starts. So in very early version, so if I say ECMAScript version 1 and 2, which is nothing but the core JavaScript only, right? But which is took time to identify the actual standard of ECMAScript 3, which is currently supported by all browsers, right? And then different versions of ECMAScript also emerge from year by year, right? But the most recent, I won't say most recent, but most accepted, or the most the version where a drastic change happened into the JavaScript, and that is the version which is developed in year 2015. That is ECMAScript 6, right? Which is, we call it as ES6. So this is the most, advanced, or you can say that most modern version of JavaScript, where there are bundles of new features are introduced, right? And these days also these features are very much interesting to learn actually, because that makes JavaScript so more handy to use, right? That I'll show you with some demonstration. So you will have some, at least some basic idea that how it's gonna work. And that is not the end of the different version of JavaScript. But again, today also there is ES7, ES8, ES9, right? So ECMAScript 2018, 19, and like that, different versions are coming at every year, and there are certain advanced new topics are introduced, new concepts are introduced into the JavaScript concepts, right? And people in industry, they are taking use of that concepts, right? But the most often uh, topic which we want to discuss, that is ES6, right? Afterwards, those were the new topics which are there or which are introduced in JavaScript. They are too advanced for you people, right? But let's say if you have learned ES6 or modern JavaScript, which we are talking about, right? If you are aware of certain things out of that, you will be, glad that there are so many opportunities in market, right? That you can grab straight away. So the some sort of small list I have created of some important features of ES6, right? And I'm going to brief you about this, some of the one, right? You can say this list is long actually, around 40 plus new features were introduced, but this is some important one, and basically some of the one which you can understand at this stage, I must say, right? So you, once you are a good JavaScript developer, then it will be very easy for you to understand all the ES6 features, right? And you can use that. But yes, some of the one which is very useful, and if you know this particular features of JavaScript, ES6 features, right? You will be able to see that there are many opportunities are there. So let me, take you to this list, and let's see if we will able to try to see how we can use that. uh, for simple reason, I'll just make a copy of this so that we will be able to see that. Now, what I want you to do, if you are doing some hands-on currently with respect to this presentation, so you can do that. But let's say I will write some code for you, I'll demonstrate to you, and later on I will mail this particular whole code to you, so that at later stage you can practice that, you can see that how it works, and you can understand that in a better way. So let's check it out that how these features will work. So let me make us a file. I'll just copy paste this all list of features. Let me just make a comment it out for you people. So these are the features, right? We're gonna discuss. Let me zoom in a little bit. I'm sure this will be difficult for you to read. Sorry, I'm not good with this shortcuts. I'm using this. Mm, I'm not sure. Something goes wrong, so I'm not able to zoom it clearly. So what I will do for you, let's use some other tool to demonstrate this. We can use simple plain notepad without creating any confusion, right? So this will be easy for us to work with this. So these are the feature. I must say this should be visible to you. Let me uh, create this thing easy for you, right? I must say this should be visible to you. Okay, so yeah, so now we will go through these particular features, right, one by one. So let's say talk about lets and cons. The Those who are a JavaScript developer, they must be aware that when you want to declare a variable in JavaScript, right, what we do, we use var keyword, right? So in a JavaScript, basically var keyword is used to declare a variable. So let's say if I want to write any student name, right, then I can use the var keyword and I can declare a variable like this, right? So let me write some value here, say Raj, right? So this is a simple way to declare a variable. Let me save this file for you, and we can, you know, use some demo for that. This is student.js. Okay, this file is saved. Now, uh, basically, this is a JavaScript file. Now, this comment out code, you know that this is a way to comment, right? Just like a C language. Here, this is one particular syntax which I have written, that is where and student was introduced. Now, file is saved. Now, how we can run this basically? How we can execute this JavaScript file? So this is simple actually. To do this, we can uh, use the command line, and here I'm using one particular you can say one particular uh, application, that is node application. Let me write it down for you into command. Here I'm using node.js installed in my computer, right? Using Node.js, you can run JavaScript straight away. But ideally, we can incorporate this JavaScript file into any HTML file, and we can run that over there as well. But this is, not required at this stage because we don't want to display anything onto the HTML page. But yes, if we want to do that, we can also uh, perform that task. I have written a small demo code to you just to make that thing easy, right? Let me just write it down a small HTML page here. I want to show you that page, how it will look like, so that you will have some understanding. So let me open this particular page into the notepad. Okay, so simple HTML page is created, a student.js file script is added, right? And basically, simply we will just incorporate any script file like this, right? This is not required, but this is just to demonstrate that this is also a way we can work with this. So now in actual file, there is a student.js. If I want to write it down this thing, this particular name into my HTML file, I can write here simply document.write, right? And then I can provide any particular string, like let's say welcome. Then I can write it down. Uh, Simply I must say student name. Right? And if I simply save this, and if I simply open this student HTML file, right, where I am targeting this, I will be able to show you the result of this right over here. Can you see this? Right. So this is the output of our HTML file. You will be able to see here, right? Same thing we can perform in the command line using Node application, right? So this is also, you know, possible. You can straight away execute the whole particular program into the command line, right? But let's say we will be able to display it over here also, not an issue. Again, one more thing, there is a dev tool. Those who are doing web development, they must be aware, right? So there is a dev tool. Basically, you need to right click and there is a inspect, right? You can go into that and there is a important tools will be available. So here console is there, right? So here also you can perform the same task. Basically, whatever you will type and whatever you are going to taste, that will not be saved here. So we can, you know, jump into this one. So, but yes, you can perform that task over here also. So now come to the actual code that I wanted to discuss with you right now. So here you can say that when I have written this particular program using this document.write, you can display this. Now we were talking about this two term which I wanted to discuss as a new features of ES6 basically. So lat and const, you can say I can declare a variable. Where was the older one, which is in a JavaScript? In ES6 version, you can always use the lat, right? Lat to declare a variable, and you can declare a variable in the same way. You know what is the drawback with where keyword? If you have declared a variable like this, and if you again declare a variable, this is allowed, right? And you can store anything in this variable. This is allowed in JavaScript. If you save and if you run this, it will not going to show you any error message, right? Let me give this particular thing. Let me write a console for this. Don't want to do the document.write console.log, and we will just see whatever is the output into the console. If I write another console and I write like this, you will be able to see two consoles, right, into the this particular window. So here, this is the output of our console window. Here you will be able to see uh, this is something not, you know, I won't be able to zoom it to you for you people, right? But yes, if you want to see the result into the console, you will be able to see this like this. So here you will be able to see that as I declared this particular variable again, there is no any particular error. But again, if you declare a variable with the help of lat keyword, it will not allow you to redeclare it, right? You cannot declare a variable again. So this is something was introduced using lat. Same way, if you want to make a constant variable, you can always use the const keyword and you can declare a variable, right? At the later stage, you cannot change the variable name, right? So this is nothing but a, you can say, now once you have declared a variable with the const, you cannot change the value to ABC like this. If you do this, this will give you the error message. These are the things, these are the features were not available with the where keyword, right? So that's why JavaScript in ES6 lat and const new feature were introduced, right? And accordingly, we are using this. So this is something, you know, very interesting. Again, there is one more thing that I want to tell you to check and taste, right? That is a block scoping, right? The one which I'm talking about, that is block scope. You can say that block scope, right? So block scope is means that if you declared a particular variable inside a curly braces like this, right? If you declare a variable inside the curly braces like this, and if you use it in the curly braces, for example, in any function or something, this particular variable will be having the scope for this block only. It is not going to be accessible outside this block, right? So this is something interesting. So that is what you can use the block scoping, right? Okay. Next thing, I'll just simply cut paste from here, and I'll use it at the later stage, right? So next thing from the ES6 feature, that is template string. Now what is template string? So basically in JavaScript, if you want to append a variable and string, right? Let's say in earlier example also, when I do like this, for example, if I want to write a message, that message, and if I can do this, let's say um, hello, right? Let me write a variable let student name equal to Raj, right? If I want to make a string, so earlier we used the plus sign, right, to append a string with any other string or with the variable. So this is possible, right? And if we do the document dot write, and if I do message here, right? If I just simply refresh this, you will be able to see that we get the output like this. That is hello Raj, right? So here we are just doing the same thing, but with the ES6 feature. Now, if you want to do this, we can use template string, and for that we can use, let's say, let message, and we use the backtick. This is not a single quote, but this is backtick, and then we can write hello after space dollar sign, then this curly braces, and then here we can write the variable name, that is, let's say, student name, right? And then backtick complete. This is also with the same thing. This is called the template string. And you will be able to see the, I have made it comment like this. So now let me refresh, right? The same output. There are many advantage of using this template string. Let's see, if you want to add the code inside this is possible straight away, right? We can use the code also here, and there are many more different advantage when we have the complex kind of string embedation, right? At the moment this feature will be, very useful. Okay, so that is template string, right? Which is something very interesting and useful. Now the most important feature, right? Most important feature that I want to discuss with you, that is arrow function. So basically, in JavaScript, when we write a function, how do we write it? Let's say hi function, right? Uh, Let me keep a student here. Uh, let student name equal to Raj, and let's say if we want to make a high function, we are passing an argument over here, and we are creating a function, right, which will again do the document dot write, and what we will simply print hello. Then let's use the backtick, right? So backtick, then hello, then space, and then I will use a dollar sign here, curly braces, and inside curly braces, I can use the term name. Right? This is my a function. You can say this is a function which I have written here. Right? Let me save and let's use this. How it will work. Again, okay. I need to call the function basically, right? And I'll pass a student name as a variable, right? Let's run this. Something is missing after argument. Sorry, I forgot to close this, right? So you will be able to get this output, right? So now let's use the same concept, right? We will convert this function into a arrow function. So it is simple. First of all, we let me comment it out. So right, let me write it again so that you can compare these two things, right? So first of all, when we are using uh, arrow function, we will not use the function keyword. Whatever the argument, we will use that. But first of all, we will use the let keyword and we will name the function. So let say hi was the function name equal to, right? Then we will the argument list, and then we will use this big arrow, right? We will use the big arrow, and this is nothing but a arrow function. It is also called as a arrow function, you can say, or fat function, right? Many names are there you can use for this, but this is how it works. So this is the difference. Let me brief you. Let's first run this, right? And then we will be able to give you the basic idea how actually it works. So same output, right? Now see the beauty of this. You can truncate this function, though there is only single line in this particular function. You can omit this curly brace. You know, no need to write the curly braces. You can directly write this line of code like this. Can you see? Single line. Now, if there is single argument, no need to write this braces also. This is also a same function as you can see here, right? So most of the time when we do the programming, right, sometimes we need this kind of handy functions like this. We'll be able to see that here when I'll do the refresh, this is still working, right? So you can able to understand this. This is the way to write a small function like this. See, this is a single line function. This can be very handy when we are writing actual function like this. So if it is single argument, you can omit the braces. But let's say if there is more than one argument, right? Then you need to put the braces back. So this is, we can use it in this way. So let's say if I have hello name dot r then dollar sign age and let me say old years old. Okay. And if I'm passing some values of age, let's say 18, right? And then if now I'm refreshing this particular page, you will be able to see the output where Raj and 18, which is nothing but value we have passed, right? So Raj, hello Raj, you are 18 years old like this. So basically, that is how you can use this arrow function as well, right? Quickly here I want to show you the default values as well, right? Because of default value will nothing but if there is some default value you want to set. So here in ES6, let's say if you are not passing any value, then what to do, right? So you can set a default value that say, let's say I want to set it at least 18. If user is not providing any value, I can pass the default value, and that default value you can pass using this terminology argument and then equal to sign and then the value which you want to pass. So if we have not passed the default value, you will be able to see this will be the 18. But now if I'm making one more call, right, or let's say student, and here if I'm passing some value like 30, you will be able to see some default value here, right? So at that moment for the second argument, right, let me put the student name equal to Rahul. Now for the Rahul, we set age that is 30. For the first student, that name is Raj. For that we have not set. So just see the output. Okay, let me put it in a this way that it will display properly and in a new string. Okay. So here we will be able to see that output like this. So Raj, right, is 18, where we have not passed the age value. So this is the meaning of default parameter, default value, right? You can say here. See here, we have not passed the value for Raj when we pass this or run this function. But here, when we pass the value, it will not take this default value. That is the meaning of this default value, right? So this is default value. Okay, that is the arrow function. Now the next thing that I wanted to show you, as the time is less, a spread operator. So basically, let's say if we have any function like this, any variable like this, uh, student name. Let's make it a array, right? So if we have a array like this, let me add one more value. Let's say Rahul, right? And if we just simply uh, want to use this, let me erase everything so that you won't get confused. Okay, so if you have an array like this using spread operator, what you can do, uh, let's create a new array, all students. If I want to make a big list of students, that is all students, right? So here I have, let's say, a student called Ria, right? And here I want to use the students which is there in the student name, right? Or let's say student list, I must say. Name is not the right one, student list. So here I can use the spread operator, right? And I can write student list, right? And this array is completed. So you know what will happen when this particular variable will get executed, right? At that time, you will be able to see that all the students will be listed over here, will be simply displayed. So for that reason, to demonstrate this, I will use the one of the array function, right, for you, right? So let's do that. If you want to display that, I can write all students, right, dot, for each is the method, right? Here, this particular method itself accept one more function. I can say student arrow, and here I will write document dot write, and then let's use the backtick, then h1, then backtick h1 completed, and here I am going to display only the student name for a sake of just information, student. So what happened? This for each function that work for this array, it will fetch one record at a time. It will pass into the student variable, and we are printing that student. This is nothing but an arrow function. You can see this. This is an arrow function where there is a one argument. So I am just writing directly like this. So single argument student and one statement, that is document.write method. I am displaying the student here, right? So let's see how it works. Okay, to display this, I have to print this into a variable. let student build, because this will return in this function. Then again document dot write, and I must say students. I guess there is something error, but let me give you a simple brief that if you want to use this for each in this way, we can do like this. One, two, three, right? And simply we will display this here. Let me write console.log, right? So straight away we can display this. Okay. So when we run this, we will be able to get something into the console. This is getting wrong. We comment it out. Okay. Can you see this particular thing? 1, 2, 3 will be displayed over here. Right. Document dot write. There is a result. I need to put it into in this way so you people can at least see the result. This is a traditional way to get a string. And you see 1, 2, 3. So this is how this for each function will work, right? So here, if you want to display the content like this, right? And again, let me say if we have to use the spread operator. So to do that, I can just simply do dot 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 and then any array where there is a new values, let's say 4, 5, right? So this 4, 5 is the array will be spread over here. Can you see this? So this is how it worked like this. For the string, it was creating some issue, so I have just simply dropped that. So these are the basic features I must say that we can use with respect to ES6, right? I'll quickly wind up this because of we have not enough time. So various applications of JavaScript, basically these are the libraries and frameworks which is based on the JavaScript, React, Angular, jQuery, Vue.js, Ember.js, Node.js. Some of the one works on a client side, some of the one are working on server side, right? Certain top brands they are using this JavaScript libraries like Facebook, Instagram, Netflix. Those who are using in your routine life, they are coded into the JavaScript uh, React.js library, right? So they are useful in that way. Certain latest trends in terms of web development, you people must be aware that there is a single page applications are very much useful. Mobile friendly web applications are very much trendy these days. uh, PWA, that is progressive web app. So if you are using web applications on a mobile devices, this is also very much trendy these days. Same way, AI-based and bot-based applications, voice search-based applications, IoT-based applications are the very trendy, right? As time is not permitting, like I won't be able to go into detail with each and every one. But the first one, that is single-page web application, is the key feature or the key web trending development these days, right? So those who are learning JavaScript, they will be able to write applications which is single page applications. If I say in a single explanation, single page applications are the applications where without refreshing a page, you can run that applications like Facebook, right? When you click on a Facebook on some particular button, or if you're moving from one page to another on a Facebook, you will see that your whole application is not getting refreshed. That is nothing but the single page application, right? So that is the end of my session, right? I try to cover as much as I can, right? But still there are certain topics are there that you can learn when you have the basic understanding about ES6. So that is end of my session.
Thank you so much, Amit sir. You have
Thank you, ma'am.
shared your valuable knowledge. You have started with basics of JavaScript, then you have explained the demonstration beautifully. So I hope our students has understood it thoroughly. And after that, you have given some features and applications and what we can do in future in with this JavaScripts, and you have given various examples also. So that was a really very fruitful session. Here, sir, here are some questions from student side. So first one is, what are the prerequisites to learn JavaScript?
Yeah, this is something, those who are interested actually want to make a career in Java, they can, attend this particular thing. Basically, if I say regarding JavaScript, there is not much prerequisite. You must have the HTML, CSS knowledge up to certain level. You must be able to incorporate your JavaScript into HTML and CSS files. Rest, JavaScript basically run just like a C language, right? So if you are aware with the basic terminology, you can straight away use JavaScript. But yes, some sort of programming knowledge, procedural programming knowledge, just like the C language, Java language, right? Which if it is there, that will help you a lot to understand the basic syntax. Yes.
Okay, sir. The next, does JavaScript work only on client side?
Yeah, this is something interesting basically because of there are certain libraries which is developed based on the JavaScript. They work on a server side as well, but actually JavaScript was designed to work on a client side only, right? But yes, there are certain like a Node.js. So what happened like when the Node.js actually developed, so they have taken compiler of JavaScript, that is V8 engine developed by the Chrome, right? And they redevelop using C++, I guess, and they have created a particular application that work on a server, right? So now JavaScript something can run on a server as well because the compiler of JavaScript they have embedded, and that how they have created a server side scripting language like Node.js. It is not a language, but it is runtime. But yes, you can use the JavaScript on a server side as well. Yeah.
Okay, okay, sir. Then, if I want my HTML document to interact with JavaScript, then is it possible?
Yeah, actually, basically the use I have discussed with Java in terms of JavaScript and HTML. So what happened when you write a JavaScript file? You have a DOM object. DOM means that is document object model, right? So document object model that give you access of different objects of your HTML document like window object or document object. In my recent examples, I saw you the document.write method there where there is a document object that we are using. Using that, you can access with various elements of your HTML file, and you can access your document like this.
Okay. Then how we can change the style of element?
Okay, let's say if you want to change the style of your HTML element, let's say here is the body element, right? If you want to change the style of your HTML element, so there is a method for the document object. If I'm writing just for the sake of typing here, you can use the document dot get element by id. There are many methods are like this, right? And you can use the methods using this particular id, or you can use the by name, and you can provide the body, right? And based on that you can access the style of this particular document. So document dot get element by id, get element by name, get element by class name, and then here you can change whatever the style you want to change. So this is the easiest way to change the style of your HTML document using JavaScript.
Okay, sir. The last question. Uh, is JavaScript is a object-oriented language? We can say that.
Yeah, very interesting question actually, because of JavaScript is not a pure object oriented, right? When you say a JavaScript is an object based language. If you see this one, it is object based, right? This is not actually object oriented language like Java, C++, and C Sharp and all, right? So it is not object oriented, but it is an object based. Now, what is basically a small difference, because this is something difficult for students to grasp straight away. But object oriented, it means that they have everything in terms of objects, right? Everything in terms of object. Whereas in object oriented languages, there is a concept like classes and objects. These two things are there in the object oriented languages. Whereas in JavaScript, there is everything is in form of objects only, right? So you cannot have the all features of OOPS like uh, encapsulation and many more, right? So abstraction, encapsulation, inheritance, you talk about all the object oriented features, they all are not available with object base. There are certain features like inheritance and all, it is possible in JavaScript only. So JavaScript is basically an object oriented, object based, not object oriented. Is it
Oh,
okay?
yes. So finally, it is object-based and not object-oriented.
Yes, true. Yeah.
Okay, sir. That was really very nice session. I am thanking you again on behalf of Parul Institute of Computer
Thank you.
Application
Thank you.
and
Thank you very much.
entire Parul University. It was really great session. Thank you so much, sir, for your time.
Okay, definitely we will be going to have some more detailed discussion. So if students have some doubt, you can pass on my email address, right? Else
Sure, sir.
later stage I'll provide this whole code to you, so that because of some technical issues I am not able to use VS Code. Otherwise it will be very handy for us to. But in Notepad also I have tried to demonstrate that. But I'll provide this code, you can pass it to the students, right? So that they can utilize it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Sure, sure, sir.
Okay.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
sir. Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you. Thank you.